Aha. Good morning. Oh, a couple of minutes late again. You see, I'm actually not in the office. I'm sitting in a green screen today. Our friends at Restream, for some reason, not allowing me to put a background on, but never mind. So as you'll notice, there is only me here today. Matthew he's out doing Matthew stuff. So we'll be. Um, I've just got a pretty short session today. We should be done quite quickly. But what I really want to talk about is where is your pipeline, and how do you define when something's got in the pipeline, and what do you do with it then? And it's quite a subject because. What happens is we can sometimes fool ourselves into thinking a pipeline is a lot fuller and a lot more complete than it actually is. And when I talk to lots of people, they all have a different view about what is in the pipeline. So I thought I'd just spend just a couple of minutes giving you my view of the funnel, the pipeline, what should be in the pipeline, and maybe share some stories about the pipeline. Let me just change the camera. Hopefully, this is not all working. Just stay there. There we go. Uh-huh. Okay. Right. So let's move to a different camera. Hopefully you can see this okay, and I'm back. And when we're talking about what our sales business looks like, we quite often talk about the funnel, the pipeline. So just a very quick and dirty overview of what this looks like. And typically we sort of draw something like this, don't we? And then we have a nice straightforward, but that's not really the shape of a typical funnel. And quite often the funnel is more flat, and then we get into the pipe, and actually that is a little bit drawn in as well. And out of here is the drip of sales. And at the top of the funnel, this is where we put in our suspects. This is the people who might have contacted us, who we've been referred to, potentially who we go out and call, find in a networking group. These are our suspects. And basically what these people are just someone that we suspect might be some value in our business in the future, but we don't really know. So we've got to take them through a qualification process. And the first bit of the qualification process here is, can we communicate? Can we communicate effectively? Can we communicate effectively? If you have a suspect who will not openly converse with you, who you haven't got the relationship with to get close to their problems, they're probably not going to buy from you. Now, particularly I'm dealing with B2B. I mean, B2C, it perhaps doesn't matter so much, or low value B2C. Although if we're talking at a higher level, pensions, car leases, things that they're mortgages, things that we are stuck with for a long time, this still applies. If we can not communicate properly, I think it's best for both of us where we just get out and disqualify, because what happens next is definitely not going to work. And the next thing is, and if we can communicate, these transfer then to cold prospects. Doesn't mean we know anything, or doesn't mean we're going to necessarily deal with them, but at least we stand a chance. And our job here, once we can communicate, is to find out, have they got the sort of problems and have they the sort of level of commitment to fix them that we can solve? And in Sandler we call that pain, but can we fix their problems? Can we fix? And again, that's a real qualifying point. If we cannot get to the point of the conversation that we know exactly where they're hurting, we shouldn't continue. So we have to have an open discussion. And if we cannot communicate clearly, that open discussion is never going to happen. And then we must consider disqualifying. That's got to be a real out for us. If we can fix the problems, we then get to a warm prospect, but we have to work out, can they pay? Have they got the money? Is it available to them? Can they see it? And are they willing and able to spend it to get rid of the pain? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean spend it with us. It just means, have they got the money available somewhere to spend with someone? And if we can see that money, we know where it lives, we know the amount of money that's there is enough to fix effectively the problems that we've worked on, they then move into a warm prospect. Again, nothing's guaranteed at this point. Our next job then is are we happy with the decision-making process? And that doesn't necessarily mean the decision makers, although we need to get in front of those eventually, or at least have a line into these people. It means the process that they go through, the timescales that they go through. Are we okay working within this, these restrictions? If we have a decision and we're okay with that, they are now a hot prospect, because a hot prospect has the pain that we can fix, has enough money to get it fixed, and the decision-making process is something that we can work with. Only then are these people qualified. And then they go into the pipeline. They can't go into the pipeline unless they are fully qualified. We've had good quality conversations with them. Once they're fully qualified, they go into the pipeline, but what you'll notice here is the pipeline's angled as well. We need to prove that we can do it to their level of satisfaction, so that they are then in full understanding of what we can do to take away their problems. And eventually, we do a post-sell, and our post-sell is interesting. As a salesperson, our biggest competitor is not names on the wall. It's not companies that we know. Quite often, our biggest competitor is the status quo, doing nothing. And the quality of the conversations we have down that funnel into the pipeline will help them define, does it make sense for us to work together? And we need to know this. And if really we're not at that point here, we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves at the end. It should all really be done at the end of the qualification. Now, that's hard, and there's lots of ways we can do it. But eventually, something drips out the bottom. Now, one of the things is, this is the order. This is lovely. But what we can see here is a drop-off. Each bit of this, we're going to get a drop-off. These are our DQ points. And we can see there's a drop-off at each level. People we are going to lose. Now, the more that we can get rid of, the more tire kickers we can get rid of through this process, the more time it allows us to spend with real prospects. But we can see here, even though we're qualified, it still tips off a bit. We don't win them all. Now, if we've got a drip coming out here, one of the things that we do have to make sure is that we are replacing them. And this is our prospecting activity. And it isn't one in, one out. It could be one order, 10 suspects, 15 suspects. we've got to keep on prospecting. I'm hoping that's made some sense. I'm going over to see if there's any anything going on in the world. There we go. That's my bit done. If you want to know more about qualification, how to qualify correctly, the steps you have to go through, the questions you have to ask, we run a regular session. It's a free session. It's online, 13 minutes. That's my bit. Anything at all, let me know. Got no questions currently coming in. I'm off. Speak to you next week. Matthew will be in place, and hopefully I'll be in a proper office again. Take care. Bye-bye.